Getting the most out of a trip to Costa Rica means you're going to have to do some planning. The trick is, don't overplan and leave plenty of room for some downtime and relaxation. We asked residents with ranging backgrounds what tips they had for getting the most out of a Costa Rica visit. If you love Costa Rica or want to keep learning about this amazing country, click the subscribe button and be sure to look for the app In Costa Rica in your app store.
Well, they definitely need to visit some of the must-sees and must-dos here in Costa Rica. I think you should definitely, obviously the beaches. I think you should visit, obviously, maybe a chocolate forest or a cacao farm, a chocolate shop like this one here in Basilito. I think you should definitely take a cruise on a sailboat. I think you should see the Arenal volcano and the lake. I think you should probably go to Monteverde too, Tortuguero on the Caribbean side, Puerto Viejo. Those places are really key, I think. If you get a chance, it's a little bit off the beaten track, but go to the Corcovado National Park. It's also pretty amazing. Rio Celeste in the north is the most spectacular river you'll ever see. Things like that.
Well, if you've done that upfront research, and once you're there, you have more of an itinerary, and you get the most out of your trip by doing more of what you wanted to do by a little bit of planning.
You get the most out of Costa Rica when you are willing. I think this is similar to any country, but I'll just go off with this. It's like you're willing to let go of your own preconceived notions of a place and a people, and just be ready to go with the flow a little bit. So that's my general advice to anybody traveling. And I think you get the most out of Costa Rica when you choose to do more, right? Like some people love having a vacation that's just a resort or a beach vacation, or they're coming here to fish, or they're coming here to do a specific thing, right? That's their main goal. And I would say if that is it, that's fine, right? But let's diversify a little bit and just stretch your limits, right? Costa Rica is a great place to stretch your limits in your comfort zone in a lot of ways because of its ability it offers so much in terms of how you can try yourself physically and not only physically, you don't have to be physically able to do a lot of things, but maybe it's just like seeking that little bit of adrenaline in a way. Like Costa Rica is really developed in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it would be to rent a car. That's how you will get the most out of a trip. Because getting around with car, you would see places and see the country more, I think.
Yeah, well, firstly, I would say to do a small research on the country, how big it is, what you want to see, and depending on your interest, then you can make like a road trip. But definitely to get a car, because public transportation isn't an option if you're time limit. And not to go to all the touristic places because I don't like them that much. I would rather go like to maybe not Manuel Antonio, but Dominical, for example, to travel like 1 hour more, and then you get to a place where you can see like normal ticos all around. And yeah,
I'd say don't stay in the same place too long. Jump around a little bit and see what all the different avenues what Costa Rica has to offer. From like what I was saying before, if you can make it all the way down to the Osa Peninsula, where it's more untouched, more virgin territory, to the beaches in Guanacaste, some of the white sand beaches and the dark sand, volcanic sand, to the rainforest, up in the Arenal, and it's just try and take it all in.
Oh, well, first of all, if it is the first time in our country, they should come to, Guanacaste instead of, it's just an example, Guanacaste instead of San Jose. If they want to get the best of the country, then they should make sure they do their research about what places to visit depending on what they want to do. If they like nature, if they want adventure, then they have to try to find the provinces where they can find that. Because if they go to the city, of course, they will be seeing just buildings and traffic. So they have to make a research first before coming. And I would say, well, it all depends on what, if they love adventure, then there's tons of things to do here, like waterfalls, volcanoes, zip lining, a lot of places to visit, actually.
Yeah, kind of like I said, I think planning at least a little bit, because it's, especially when you get to the airport and you've had a long flight, it's really confusing, like what you should do. And there's those taxi drivers shouting at you. So just kind of knowing where you're going to go and how to get there, I think is a really good tip. If you rent a car, and I really recommend renting a car if you can, because the public transport is pretty good here, but you can get everywhere so much quicker in a car. So definitely recommend getting a car with GPS.
Yeah, not enjoying the unseen things of Costa Rica, the getting to know the culture. Really getting to know the culture is what I can find that people really miss out on when they just come and only stick to the very touristy aspects of Costa Rica.
Yeah, I think doing less, I know that's sort of my motto, but I think a lot of people come and they have the 2 week, and they do the 2 week circuit where they come to San Jose, and then they go to Arenal, and then they go to Monteverde, and then they go to Manuel Antonio, and then they, they're trying to fit like 6 places in the span of 2 weeks. And it's definitely an adventure, but I feel like you spend so much time driving around in that amount of time. So I would just say, like, maybe halve the amount of things that you want to do, because there's actually so many things to discover in each place. And often I remember I wouldn't find out about a really awesome spot like a waterfall or another hidden beach until I was already 2 or 3 days in a place. And if you're trying to be on that circuit, you're already gone. So you haven't had the opportunity to see a lot of the things that are a little bit off the beaten path.
I think you just have to have zero expectations and not try and do too much. More just enjoy the simplicity that it has to offer rather than jam packing it as Americans usually do, myself included. I think just really enjoy the setting that you've planned and not try and do too much and just relax.
I think for a vacation, I would recommend to hire a professional tour guide to take you through the land, because there's so many things that they can show you and tell you about Costa Rica that if you go, for example, if you go for a walk through the rainforest, you don't really see much. If you have a tour guide with you, you will see more wildlife, have a little bit more of an experience, and make sure that it's a Tico tour guide, because they actually love their country and they know a lot. So, and for living here, I would say just try to enjoy most of the nature that we have, and there's not only beaches, which are beautiful, there's also other places. For example, we live a little bit further in from the beaches, and if you, for example, decide to move here and buy a house, the prices variate a lot if you drive 10 minutes to the beach or if you have a 2-minute walk to the beach. So that's a big difference.
Well, I could be a little biased here, but I'd have to say by starting off with utilizing the In Costa Rica app and navigating their way through the website. But I'd say good research and asking people that have been. I get asked all the time from friends in both New York and really around the world, what do you recommend my family do when they come to Costa Rica? So I try to give 5 or 6 recommendations and again, let them go explore.
I don't drive, but I think if I did, I would rent a car, because it gives you the freedom to do what you want. Costa Rica has many beaches along its coastlines. So you can beach hop, stay in one place. You don't even need to move on. You could drive up and down a variety of beaches in the same day, especially in the Caribbean side. There are 4 or 5 beaches in Puerto Viejo area, and also in the Nicoya side on the Pacific coast, like Nosara, Samara, Santa Teresa. So beach hopping is something that I think is great. And also there are many different climates and things to do here, like the volcanoes, the cloud forests. So if you have a car, that could give you the flexibility to see all of that. And make an effort with the language. Very important. You can get away with not speaking any Spanish, but at least make a little bit of an effort.
You know, at first, when I first moved here, I was all gung-ho. I can do this on my own. I can do that. But I highly, highly suggest talking to people who've lived here, tourists. What do you call it? The tourist groups and stuff like that. They really know their stuff, and they are really open to befriending people as well, because they love expats and they love getting to know other countries as well. So I really suggest getting in with those types of people, because they outside of their work and outside of them helping you, that way they're open to hanging out afterwards, and they know their stuff. You know, people who have lived here for a very long time, they're good to be around. I would suggest just really getting into the communities and learning some Spanish. I know expats that have been here for 10 years and don't speak a word of Spanish, and I just don't understand that. I just immerse yourself and get to know the people. Once you get to know the people, you're less likely to get robbed too. So, you know, you gotta, don't, like I said before, don't come here expecting to live the same life you did elsewhere, and don't treat the people like they're secondhand people. You're in their country. So I would suggest just getting involved with them more and not trying to do everything on your own.
Check out the full playlist as we ask residents some of the most common questions about Costa Rica. In the top right corner, there's a live poll to share your opinion with everyone. Don't forget to subscribe and try the In Costa Rica app.